Welcome into the Hustle Show podcast, Week 7 college football, Week 6 NFL. I am Drew Martin, joined by Kelly Stewart, Chris Thurston, Adam Trigger, and special for this week, Joe Ranieri, powered by WagerTalk.com and brought to you by Viva Tequila Seltzer. Viva Tequila Seltzer, only 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, 4.5% ABV. Viva, the perfect drink for your post-game or pre-game celebrations. It was created with the active lifestyle in mind. Guys, check them out. VivaTequilaSeltzer.com. Use the coupon code HUSTLE at checkout. Going around the horn here, welcoming in the crew, Kelly Stewart at Kelly in Vegas. Bet on it on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Check her out, Barstool Sportsbooks as well. Money Shots with Megan Making Money. Kelly, without further ado, welcome into the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Drew. I spent a better part of my afternoon not only doing Bet on it and laughing my ass off with Marco D'Angelo and Joe Ranieri, but arguing with somebody on the internet. Now, I know that doesn't sound like me or something that I would do, but can you guys tell me on the Money Shots, I guess the logo, or like the banner or whatever you would call it. Can you guys tell me does it really look like Megan is, spraying money on my face? Now I may have to revisit this. I get that it's called Money Shots because Megan's funny and she does a play on words. And I'm looking at this logo going, is this guy's brain just in the gutter? Or is that just how all men think? I'm going to send it to the group chat. Is that okay? It's a money gun spraying money.
I know, but I thought of the same thing in my head before.
Okay. Fair enough. Adam Trigger?
Never said it.
I'm just more outstanding.
I mean, because it's my face. It'd be different if I had the gun and I was doing the spraying. But now that it's my face, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Maybe we need to revisit this. Or maybe this guy's just a perv.
You want me doing the spraying?
Yeah. Hello?
Now, maybe next season you can switch it up. Maybe
wait, I thought what I asked. Right now. Trig, I'm asking about the logo specifically with Megan with the money gun, all the money floating around the back.
Yeah, I'm going to have to study this further because I don't have an immediate answer.
All right, fine. Either way, I guess okay, maybe men are just wired differently than women. Next subject.
Yeah.
It is a little weird that he actually wrote that on the internet for everybody to see. I'm looking at it right now. Not really, Kelly. I don't get that. I mean, if you want to say it, obviously it's like a pun in the title, but no, I don't know. That seems like a little bit.
Okay, I'm just making sure. I mean, listen, I'd like to have a little bit of journalistic integrity left. I don't have much, but just a little bit.
Kelly Stewart there. Of course, bet on it. It sounds like a good show this week, Kelly. So, guys, check it out. WagerTalk YouTube channel. We got Chris Thurston at CTBets16 on Twitter. CT Bets, man. Welcome in. You're looking good on camera today.
Drew Martin Bets. I always look good on camera. I love staring at myself. I think I'm amazing. I'm doing great. I'm having a great week. It's great to be back with you guys. Drew Martin Bets. This number right here, 718. That's how many entries are left in Circa. I got 2 of them with Trig, and I got 1 with Uncle Benny, and now we're moving into kill or be killed mode. That's our motto. Me and Uncle Benny, me and Trig. Kill or be killed. And just to let you know, Drew Martin Bets, we do the killing. We don't get killed. So CT's doing great. Excited to be here. I got a couple bets I'm really excited about, and really excited for my friend and our colleague Joe Ranieri to join us.
Yeah, absolutely. Special guest here this week. We got Adam Trigger as well. At Top Flight SI. Check them out, WagerTalk.com. Trig, welcome in, man.
Thanks, Drew. Listen, let's be honest. No one cares how I'm doing right now. People want the picks. They always say you take too long to get to the picks. And, well, CT Bets and I were just talking about Marshall. I don't know why, but it's clearly sharp, and it's getting whacked as we speak right now. So I bet -10. CT, Kenny White told him it was 12. Like, are we all betting Marshall? Is what I'm going to kick that back out to the group to start the show. I just bet.
Yeah, I told you guys backstage. Kenny texted me. He makes this game 12. Seems like Marshall's taking some sharp money and a little reverse line movement there. So I hopped on Marshall for a couple shekels, knowing nothing, just going off of our good friend KW here.
Yeah, I don't know, man. This is a little bit of revenge spot here for Marshall after losing last year in New Orleans. I don't love this. I just don't love this game. I made the game 10 while I respect Kenny White far more than I respect myself. I think this just looks like a straight up pass game for me. I know it's a standalone Wednesday night and everybody loves to have action, but I have to be here to remind everybody that Billy Napier is no longer at Louisiana Lafayette, and that concerns me on the other side of things. So just a hard pass for KIV.
Absolutely. In KIV, adding on to that, Levi Lewis, their quarterback, that lefty, real athletic kid, he's not there either. I think that's like
very good point.
Yeah, big miss. And their running back from last year, he's in the NFL. He made a roster. I can't remember where, but yeah, so they're missing a lot of talent off of last year's squad. So I don't know. Maybe is 10 in the hook? Is that a hustle show ticket here, Trig, that you're trying to push?
I got 10 minus 110 right before the show started. There's still 10s out.
So did I.
Yeah.
Okay, how come nobody likes the over here? As I'm looking at average OPR, I'm looking at a couple other like little tidbits here on the gold sheet. Going, hey, this looks like maybe this one's just a little too low. Again, not a big opinion, but just something to consider as well.
Yeah, I mean,
if you're laying 10, I feel like you kind of lean toward the over. If you know what I mean, like just in theory, like typically you're not laying 10. Typically, if you like the under, that's just usually how it works. Like you kind of like one or the other. So I guess that's the way I would lean if you force me to pick a over under.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, laying doubles with a total under 50 is not like necessarily a smart thing to do. That's a good point, Trig. Sorry about that, CT Best. Go ahead, man.
No, Drew, I would say, honestly, I didn't even know that there was a college football game today. And then Kenny and I were texting a little bit, and we were talking about the game. He says, I make it 12 CT, so I figured I'd let my friends know, and I put a couple bucks on it just to watch. That's all. Nothing crazy.
Yeah, I spent most of my time on the diamond for today, and it looks like rain delay still in Atlanta. Not really sure. Maybe we got Joe Ranieri behind the scenes. I think he's ready to come back on. A guy that knows baseball pretty well. But I think we're actually going to hold off for just a second, guys, and we're going to go to big game breakdown here. We got going around the horn. Of course, we can go where. There we go. I think Joe is with us, man. Joe, what an entrance, man. I couldn't do it any better, bro. Welcome in.
Yeah, that was enough to piss me off. I was talking to myself for like 5 minutes here, Drew, and I just couldn't get anything working. But I'm glad I'm here because I've been listening to you guys, believe it or not, right from the beginning of this show. And I agree, Kel. Total creeper. His mom should let him out of the basement every now and then. I think you'll be fine there. But what time is the baseball game kicking off? Is it 7? Is that what the time it was pushed back to, Drew?
Yeah, to tell you the truth, Joe, I don't know. I'm just seeing rain delay here.
Yeah, rain delay and rain
7,
delay.
they said, yeah. 7 o'clock is what they were saying. Which, good luck. If it might go at 8 o'clock. It might start later than the Dodger game, is what they're saying right now.
Yeah, gee. Yeah, I do remember from living in Atlanta for 8 years. It's not like South Florida, Joe. When it rains for a long time. Down in South Florida, sometimes it rains for 20 minutes, then it's sunny the rest of the day. That's not the case normally in Georgia.
I think that's
Alabama.
my favorite thing about South Florida, Drew, is it will be raining on me, and on the other side of the sky, the sun is shining, and I'm like, what is going on here? Growing up in the Midwest, you're absolutely right. I looked at the weather. I considered playing the baseball game. I got a text from a good buddy of mine. And I said, why would I want to stay up and watch this? It's football season.
Good point.
Well, Kelly, some people like the MLB playoffs. I actually thought this weekend in MLB playoffs was a success. I really do. I thought they did the right thing in terms of just kind of matching it up wild card round. But I know you're a football lover. We got
it's no KBO, Drew. I'm just going to say it. It's no KBO, but they try. They really do.
Yeah, they're heading in the right direction. I'll tell you that. Kelly, you want to start us off with big game breakdown? Do you have a game you got circled here?
No, this is one we were just going over on Twitter. So if you guys didn't catch that, I want to hear CT Betts' thoughts on the Vols. Vols were on my long list against Alabama, 7 in the hook. And that was because we've seen this Vols team get off to a really hot start. They just smacked LSU in the mouth in Death Valley. Alabama really struggled last week with A&M. thought this may be a spot that I wanted to back the Vols in my money line parlay. But as I wrote our good friend Dave Koch, and I go, man, but can they win the game outright? And that has been my concern each and every week when I'm looking for these underdogs. Then I'm on Twitter in between Bet On It and here, and I start looking and I'm going, 87% of the tickets at this book, 70% of the tickets at that book. And I try not to buy into too much on the square dog theory, but as I was talking with CT's buddy Dan, this line should be closer to 11.5 if Bryce Young plays. So it sounds like he's not going to play, but I wanted to have CT go in and break down why he does like the Vols. Maybe he can talk me into it. I try not, like I said, try not to buy into too much of the square dog, but put that out there in Twitter just for talking points, see what everybody has to think.
Yeah, Kel, I bet this game on Monday, and I took Rocky Top plus 7.5, and the last couple of days I hiked it on Monday. I didn't expect this to turn into a public dog, but I think people are kind of seeing the way this Vols team played this past Saturday, and they looked great. The defense has been so much better from last year. It's been a total 360 here, and the wide receivers like Cedric Tillman, he's been out and he missed this past Saturday's game, and Brew McCoy and a couple of the others have really picked it up, and they have two running backs, Jabari Small. They are running the ball very well, and Hendon Hooker's been great, right? And Alabama, we saw Bryce Young didn't play Saturday. They were 24-point favorites, and A&M had a chance to win that game. So I think Tennessee can play with this team. I think they could stay with them. I think it's a huge advantage that it's at home for the Vols. This place is going to be packed. It's sold out. Tickets are going for $450 right now. The place will be rocking. Tennessee is back. Like, they haven't been back like the Peyton Manning days since Peyton Manning here. So these fans are pumped, and I think they could stay with them. I was hoping it wouldn't be a square dog here, but as you and I always talk about, square dogs and public faves, this is gambling. They sometimes win. They do cash. So there is a chance this game is at home, so I'm going to stick with my bet. I like my chances. I think they have a shot here. Not crazy that's a square dog, though.
The square dog.
I just have I just definitely have my concerns with that defense. And Bryce Young or not, I think the line is correct with him being out. If you like Alabama and you think he's going to play, or you've got some sort of insight he's going to play, I would bet it now. But I'm going to go ahead and say that the line is indicative that he's not going to. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to hear CT's opinion on it. I haven't canceled it yet. I haven't crossed it off my list, but I also haven't bet it. So Joe Ranieri had a really good stat about Josh Heupel on Bet On It today. So make sure you guys go over there and check that out. And maybe an angle. If you do like the Vols, maybe it's a better angle to play them in.
CT Bets, I like what you said there in terms of the ticket sales. I mean, that stadium's so big. If the tickets are really going for that much, oh my gosh. I can remember going to Knoxville on a couple occasions, and it's like it wasn't even fully packed, but there was so many people there. I mean, for this, what they've lost, I think it's 16 straight, something like that. It would be good to see this rivalry actually get back.
I feel like we've seen this movie before, though, right? Like, it's like, ugh. Well,
I mean, Joe, I guess, coming to you next for Big Game Breakdown. It's almost like a segue into it. Like we've seen this before. I mean, is this just where Alabama comes in and it's like the perfect, public dog type of situation?
You said what? It was 16. I mean, CT, of the 16, how many have we gotten to this point in the season and be like, this is it. This is the year Alabama. They're going to get, and then they don't end up getting it. But I will say this: when you put the numbers together on both teams, defensively and offensively, it's amazingly similar, Drew. And you know me, I like to look at the first half. I like to split these games up into two, first half versus full game. The first half numbers with Tennessee and Alabama as far as yards per play, points scored, points given up on defense, both home and they're very, very similar. In fact, to me, it's a coin flip situation in the first half. And if you can get 4 and 4.5 points, Josh Heupel, 19-2 now in his 5 years, 3 at UCF, 2 now at Tennessee. In the first half against the line, Drew, Tennessee loves to come out and smack you. They start fast. They run up and down the field. They get points. They just did it to LSU. We were on it last week. 20-0 before you turned around in the first half, and you're like, what the hell happened? That's what Josh Heupel does. That's what Tennessee does. You want to give me in what I think is a coin flip game with a possible backup quarterback starting? You want to give me 4.5 points at the home dog? I'm good there, Drew. That's where I'm looking.
I love it. First half stats here. I mean, and I'm going back to his UCF days because he wasn't that big of a moneymaker at UCF for the full game. I'm saying so.
Yes.
Coming back in the second half, is it that bad of a point spread? Do you know that, Joe?
Yeah, well, no, it's not what it is in the first half. Mostly because, listen, his whole point with that offense was to run out, get ahead, always play from ahead, not necessarily behind. And he was a dog a lot of times there as well.
Yeah, he is a good guy to kind of like when you can run it up. You know, we saw that in his UCF days, and we've seen it now in the Tennessee days as well. So, man, this is a good one. Good start here. Big game breakdown. Trig, kind of tough follow, man. Where are you heading for big game breakdown?
Well, Drew, I kind of want to kick one around to everyone as well. I'm gonna break down the game I'm going to on Saturday, which is NC State Syracuse, and I'll just set the table by saying this: I like Syracuse minus the points. I have a resource that's been very good with injury news this year, has helped me beat a number of lines, and is adamant that Devin Leary is not going to play. I texted CT. I said, "What's the drop off?" You know, he asked Kenny, and Kenny said, 5 points between Devin Leary and Chambers, the backup. Oof. You have NC State coming off of playing Clemson, and then last week against Florida State. Now they have to travel to upstate New York, essentially, whereas Syracuse comes off Wagner, where they basically rested all their guys, in a bye week. So they've had now, basically 3 weeks to prepare, essentially, for this game. So even if they're prepared for Leary, they're going to have plenty of time to prepare for the backup. And then you look at Leary's numbers, passing yardage-wise, toward the bottom of the ACC. This is a guy that got Heisman hype over the summer. I like him, but we'll put it out there. He just hasn't been as good as maybe anticipated. And then on top of all that, you go back to last week's game. NC State really didn't deserve to win that game. Jordan Travis lobbed a ball into the end zone. FSU was about to win, or at least have a chance to win. And Florida State, 10 penalties for 100 yards. NC State, I watched every minute of that game. They got every call in that game. I don't know that they get all the calls. And you want to talk about ticket sales, 45,000 tickets already sold. The Carrier Dome, I'm still calling it that, Drew. It only holds 49,000 for a football game. They're expecting it to sell out. So why would I not just lay the 3.5 with Syracuse here? Because even if Leary plays, I still think I like the Cuse. And if he doesn't, it's probably going to move. So I'm curious what you guys think, because it's just I'm surprised it hasn't moved yet. That's giving me a little cause for concern. So I lean Cuse, laying the points. I also like money line minus 170. But why hasn't this creeped up yet is my question to you guys.
First of all, stop giving out money lines minus 170. That's just disgusting.
I'm just saying.
We need to set some boundaries here.
My pick is -3. No, Syracuse -3.5. I'm just offering up. I'm saying it's only minus 170. Some people will do that, but Syracuse -3.5. Let's continue.
Okay, well,
Cuse
listen, while I agree
-3.5
with your Syracuse pick, because I've been against NC State several times this year, and that's because I didn't think NC State was going to be that good, particularly week one. I'm still not over with ECU, but that's beside the point. Trig, I did lay 3.5 with Syracuse with you, and I think there's some sharp people that agree with you, yet we haven't really seen the move in the market. So if you're only betting this because you think O'Leary is going to be out, then that's not exactly the best reason to do so. But I do think Syracuse is the better team, the more rested team, as you mentioned, and I'm with you on the orange.
My thoughts on this, Trig, are one, Syracuse 5-0, and what's that like big fat cat stat that Mark Lawrence has in the playbook? It's something about So that might
5-0 fat cats.
Yeah. That worries me
and
a little bit.
And guess how well it went for him last week. Auburn, loser.
Yep.
Coastal Carolina. What was it? There was like 5 of them. Now I gotta find it. Keep talking, Drew. Sorry, I gotta find it.
Was LSU a loss too? Was LSU a loss in that scenario?
LSU wasn't 5-0. They had to be 5-0.
Right.
Tennessee,
never mind.
You're saying Tennessee was 5-0.
Yeah, Tennessee. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
here's the Fat Cats.
Yes.
Alabama, Clemson, Coastal Carolina, Georgia, Michigan, Ole Miss, Ohio State, and USC. USC covered, I know, because I was on Washington State.
Oh,
Yep.
I know
Me too.
Ole Miss
Ole Miss
covered.
covered.
Yeah, I'm still
Oh,
pissed
yeah,
about
we
that.
know Ole Miss covered. Georgia covered. Alabama did not cover. Michigan did not cover. Coastal Carolina, I don't know if they covered.
Did not cover.
Monroe, I think.
Yeah, UL Monroe. I had them at 12.5, so they barely won that. Monroe had one
and then
final
Ohio
shot.
State.
Yep.
So it looks like they split 50-50. So maybe that trend did not work out that well this year. So hopefully it doesn't come back to bite us on week 7.
Trig, one thing I wanted to point out is what Syracuse quarterback, his name's Schrader, right? Big, tall, lanky, white dude. Like, he's sort of a little bit fast, but I feel like his type of profile going up against good defenses, because I watched every play of that, like, against Purdue game, and I won betting him, but I felt like I almost got lucky. I think he's going to get injured, man. He runs around like that against a good defense. He's going to get knocked out here sooner or later. That's one thing I worry about betting on Syracuse. But I'm with you, man. What they're averaging over 40 rushing attempts a game. So if they're able to run the ball, which against NC State, I'm not 100% certain that they're going to be. I think that they're looking pretty, but I think a lot just rests on the quarterback, Larry. It's not a game I bet. I'd watch out for that hook. I'd feel a lot better about it if you could just get -3. But yeah, it's not a game I bet of late, but I'd watch the quarterback play.
True. I mean, Syracuse is a team I'm absolutely going to want to bet against at some point for reasons that we've all kind of pointed out. They are going to be a good fade. I'm just saying, like, I'm going to the game on Saturday, and I'm obviously, like, started looking at this
And you got to bet
early
it
in the
because
week.
you're going.
Yeah.
And I got to bet it because I'm going. And NC State just is in such a bad spot here. And now, if Leary's not going to play, and there's either he's going to play hurt or he's not going to play, and there's that big of a drop off to the backup, like, at the very least, you're going to get Cused in a pretty good spot based on the fact that NC State has just been Clemson, FSU, travel, while Syracuse has been sitting home for 3 weeks preparing for this game. Like, can you ask for a better spot to back the orange? I guess is what I'm saying.
Makes sense, man. And you're going to be in the stands. I mean, how much is that worth to the point spread? At least a half a point, right?
So normally nothing. Listen, normally nothing, but as of, like, they're almost sold out for this game. This will be the best crowd Cuse has had in a long time. So there is that. Normally it's not much of a home field edge there, but they're very excited here for this game, and it's very close to being sold out, and it's only Wednesday. So this could very well be a sellout. They're only like 3,000 tickets short of a sellout right now.
Love it, Trig. Hey, there's a lot of big matchups. I mean, 3:30 Eastern time slot, a bunch of them. It actually kicks off early, Penn State game. CT Bets, man, we got to get you in here. What's your big game breakdown?
So we spent way too much on that game, way too long. I wasn't expecting to break down the Tennessee game, but I do have one that is my best college football of the. I wanted to break it down and give it out here, and that's the Oklahoma State Cowboys at number 13, TCU, the Horned Frogs. I think my good friend Joe is going to like this. This showdown between the two highest-ranked teams in the Big 12 finally arrives. It goes Saturday, 3:30. This Cowboys team playing some tough football right now. Big road win that I was at a couple weeks ago against Baylor. This team is not afraid to play on the road. Offense, per usual, has been biggest reason for their success. They're averaging 46.5 points a game, 470 yards per game, and standout quarterback Spencer Sanders has completed 61.5% of his passes, just 2 picks, and did I mention he could run too? On the other hand, Trigger man, Max Duggan, he's been the main reason for the Frogs' success. He's completed 73% and just 1 pick. I give Sonny Dykes a lot of credit. He's done wonders with this Frogs team, but TCU had their hands full last weekend with that Jayhawks team. They pulled out squeaky one, 38-31, college game day there on the road. This Cowboys team likes to go fast, like real fast, Joe. You know that. Faster than the Texas Tech team they just beat last week by 10 points, and faster than TCU. Oklahoma State, little banged up, but they're very well conditioned. They finish very, very strong. I expect Gundy to have this team ready to go. I thought this line was outrageous when I saw it. I took the half right now. There's still some 4.5 when it came out. There's still some 4s out there. I think Oklahoma State wins this game. This is my favorite college football game of the year thus far. I hammered it pretty good.
Yeah, CT, how are you going to leave out the best handicap at all? You mentioned that they just got in a dogfight in Lawrence, Kansas. Look who they have on deck.
Yep.
Hello.
Yep. Yeah, I left that out. I got a little excited, Cal, but great point.
Yeah.
Sorry, I tried to do that to Joe earlier on Bet on it. He just completely ignored me. I'm like, never mind. Nobody fall for my bullshit. I quit. I like Oklahoma State, too, in this spot.
Hey, we're kind of Big 12 heavy on the show. Just realize that. CT, who wins the Big 12 in your opinion, man?
I mean, Oklahoma State looks pretty good right now. I think they're going to be still undefeated after this weekend. And then I think the other team playing Oklahoma State is kind of wide open. I think Kansas State has a shot. Baylor's dead yet. They only have one loss. I think Oklahoma is dead. I think right now the favorite to win it, I would say, is Oklahoma State, in my opinion. It's going to come down to if Baylor could win in Morgantown tomorrow and what K-State does the rest of the way here.
Yeah, Baylor, big game.
Big game.
I mean, I joked with CT Bets. We're going to the game with Uncle Ben in Waco, November 12th. And I was like, okay, good thing K-State's on a bye week this week because they got to get ready for that TCU team next week. And then they play Oklahoma, and then they play Texas, and then they play Baylor. And I'm like, if they drop the next 3, I may just cancel everything. And he goes, I go, and then I said, what about Baylor? What if Baylor drops 3 straight? I mean, 3.5 is a crazy number tomorrow night in Morgantown. That's another discussion in itself. But Baylor has a gauntlet before they play K-State. If they happen to drop 3 straight, and Chris goes, I don't care, I'm going anyway. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe I'm a shittier fan than you, but if K-State drops the next 3, I don't know if I'm going to want to go to Waco.
They're going to destroy him in Morgantown. They're going to destroy him. The coaching advantage for Baylor alone is worth the touchdown. I understand.
That line just looks so trappy. I'm trying to figure out what planet I'm missing.
Yeah,
I'm with you, Joe. They're so much better than Westphal this year. That there's trouble in Morgantown. I know it's a tough place to play.
It used to be. It's not anymore. That's the problem. It's not anymore.
It used to be.
Yeah.
Right.
It used to be. When Geno Smith was there, it was tough.
I made the game 7.5. So based on that alone, I mean, I bet Baylor, and I wasn't going to give it out on the show, but I think it's a good bet.
We got a lot of people chiming in the chat box. Appreciate everybody joining us live. 350 people. WagerTalk YouTube channel. Also at Hustle Show Pod on Twitter. Slow Jams. He's saying TCU wins Big 12 championship and punches a ticket into the college football playoff with his bold prediction. We got Steven Lambert in the house. Follow him on Twitter at SML41. He's always giving out good picks as well. Yoshi in the house. Everybody joining us live. Joe, you're a Big 12 guy. Who's your pick to win the Big 12? I think it's the winner at TCU and Oklahoma, or TCU this weekend.
Let me think.
Who do you like?
Yeah, let me think of Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's going to win the damn game. They're going to win it. I think this is the year.
They're not going to win in Manhattan, Joe. They're going to be like a 2.5-point road favorite in Manhattan, and that defense is going to come for your ass, just like TCU this weekend. That's why I think it's going to be a good game. I think this is going to be a lower scoring affair this weekend in the Big 12, just because Spencer Sanders, yes, I agree with what CT Betts was saying, but this is a pretty solid Horned Frogs defense. And I don't think nobody really is talking about it. But I do think that the best defense in the Big 12 is the Kansas State Wildcats. Sorry, Iowa State. I hate to do that to you, but I think that's just facts.
Well, Iowa State's going to beat Texas, so they'll have their say afterwards.
Can somebody please tell me why I cannot get some guts to bet Iowa State this weekend? I already took them plus the points. Yep. I know this is going to happen if I don't bet the money line. And if I do bet the money line, we get a rematch of the Red River shootout or whatever the hell they call it now. And I just get throttled and everybody makes fun of me.
I agree with you, Joe. That's one of those sleepy kicks.
Oh, yes.
Kicks down in Texas. I've been to those games. Yep. They're still sleepwalking out from the night before, Joe. That Matt Campbell could go in there and win that game.
Does anybody know if Dylan Gabriel's going this week, Drew? Have we heard? Is he going?
Well, I got lied to last week, so here we are.
That's what I'm saying. Is he good to go? Because if he goes, I think they're lied too.
Well, Jalen Daniels, I just got a tweet about it. I just looked. He's still questionable. Mm-hmm. Well, actually, I take that back. He got downgraded 22 hours ago to doubtful. I think that's why we've seen this one move to 9. Mm-hmm. But I'm still trying to figure out what planet Oklahoma is going to win any game by double digits on.
Not without Dylan Gabriel at the quarterback spot. We learned that.
The kid Bean looked okay last week.
He did. He was throwing it around. Yep.
Yeah. I guess I heard that Daniels has the same injury as Bryce Young does. And when the news came out yesterday that he was out for the year, KU made an announcement like he's not out for the year. We're not ruling him out. And, he had a picture with his hands over his shoulder, something like that. And they're expecting him back at some point this year.
Yeah, your comment there about Bean, I remember him at North Texas. That kid could run around too. He's like a pretty good dual threat quarterback. I wouldn't downgrade him too much, especially after a week of practice with the ones. I'd actually look for him to even perform, better. Yep. So something to watch there with the Jayhawks. Great Big 12 discussion here, guys. We are up against it time-wise. I guess we got to start thinking about getting into best bets. Hopefully everybody out there, you're getting some picks here, some talk, some betting analysis. Huge shout out to the chat box like always. Please feel free to reply below, guys. Any betting questions, happy to answer them on next week's show. This is the Hustle Show podcast, wherever you're downloading your podcast at, the Hustle Show podcast. Also, every week here on Wednesdays, the WagerTalk YouTube channel, 6 p.m. Eastern time, going live. For my best bet, I know we're up against it. Big game breakdown, because it is a big game. Penn State +7 against Michigan. I like it, guys. The underdog is barking. +225 on the money line as well. Off of a bye. 11-4 against the spread road run for Penn State. 4-1 their last 5 as a road dog. And Sean Clifford, this kid's pretty good, guys. I don't think he's getting enough credit around the country. Nobody's really talking about him. He's a tough kid. He throws the ball well. They did win in the Big House 2 years ago. Granted, no fans, but still. I think there's something to this Penn State team riding under the radar. Michigan good themselves. Both of these two teams really good. So put the 7 in our pockets here. I think the Nittany Lions are the side. Sprinkle a little bit on that money line, +225. Joe, not sure if you got to a big game breakdown or if you got a best bet for us. Take it away. Any final thoughts here, Joe?
Yeah, well, let's see. CT already took my best bet there. So he likes Oklahoma State. He ran all over that. I do like the first half under Drew in your game there with Penn State. I think that's going to be a absolute dogfight. But my bet of all bets is if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's a big theme of mine here, guys, and you know that, CT, because we do it all the time. Is there a reason why we're not betting James Madison? Anybody? Any reason to bet a team that just has outscored their opponents, 220-78? They're undefeated. They're undefeated against the number. Georgia Southern couldn't stop a nosebleed. And somehow they're going to stop this James Madison team, number 1 against the run, number 1 against the pass defensively. It's only 11 and a half, and sometimes we overthink this shit, Drew. Don't overthink it. It's going to be James Madison by 20. Trust me. They're a little pissed off. They're not allowed to be eligible for a bowl game. One of the stupidest rules I think I've ever heard. So every week is a bowl game for them, Drew, and they're going to take it out on everybody that they meet. They've got something to prove. They've been proving it, and they're going to prove it again against Georgia Southern this weekend.
I love it, Joe. To answer your question, the only reason I have it circled, it's on my short list right now, is because I waited so long to jump on this train. I feel like it's one of those things in gambling. Right. Once I bet it, it's going to lose. Right. That's the only argument I have for you. Yep. I don't know, man. And that rule you brought up, it's interesting they're playing Georgia Southern. When Georgia Southern first made their jump from what the CAA to the Sun Belt, they had this same rule work against them. They didn't go to a bowl game, and they were like the winners of the Sun Belt Conference. Yep. It's so stupid. How is that even possible? Man, I like that pick, though. The Dukes. Trig, man, final thoughts, best bet, man? Anything in conclusion?
Yep, so real quick, final thoughts. I didn't really do a recap section, so I just wanted to shout out our contest winners from last week. I'm a pushover. I couldn't. 2 people picked Texas State, 18.5-point dog outright. I couldn't do a tiebreaker. They both have to be winners. So Mike Magaletta, Rob, it's Mike Mags 07 on Twitter, Rob 1010 POTC. You guys both win the Vivas. 18.5-point dogs. We gotta have two winners. Shout out to Danny Dimes and Carm, who came on the show last week. Danny and I will be out in Vegas for Colts Raiders. If you want to come hang out with us, nice. That's when we'll be out there. Paco Healy in the chat last week, $150 in gas to get $40 in drinks off Trig. Great, that's the best comment in the chat last week from our friend Paco Healy. And on the show last week, I think my favorite quote was, "Of course you're not a Reuben guy. You're not an anything guy," is what Kel said to me. I don't even know what that means. I don't know what that means exactly, but
sauerkraut.
When I remember.
Yeah, it drove me crazy too. I couldn't get the mic on fast enough. Sauerkraut and Russian dressing, please. Okay, everybody.
Russian.
The Reuben. Thank you.
It is
Russian. Yes. Which is,
I was thinking Russian. That other one sauce that you can use as salad dressing too, Thousand Island or whatever. I think it's the same thing. Yep. But because of the Cold War, I think we didn't call things Russian, so they changed the name to Thousand Island. And now we're back in the Cold War. Oh wait, that's a different show.
Right, it's the commie sauce. The commie sauce. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud? You got it there, Trigger.
And for his best bet, I like the Dolphins. I'm taking the points with the Dolphins. It doesn't matter to me who's at quarterback. It could be Bridgewater. It could be Skyler in Vegas. Could be at quarterback. Kansas State alum Skyler Thompson, who I think will be fine, actually. He had a great preseason with a week to prepare. I think that their offense is fine with him. Vikings, secondary. Not great. I mean, Kirk Cousins, Cousins threw all over the Bears. He's not going to do that to the Dolphins. I don't think the Vikings can guard these Dolphins receivers. So I actually think it's a great spot against a Vikings team that I can't get on board with this team being 4-1. I think they're very fortunate to do so. So I like Dolphins plus the points. Doesn't matter who's that quarterback for me. I'm taking the Dolphins here either way.
I actually think it's going to be Skyler Trigg, and I think it's already built into the line, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah. Skyler in Vegas, you like that?
He'll also kick your ass in ping pong, from what I understand, but those tables aren't available anymore, so those are out there, Drew. Ridiculous.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, Kelly, what about a little spotlight on Skyler Thompson for Dolphins fans, NFL bettors? Anything you noticed from his college days? How do you think
he's
he
42?
Very good when limited by a great offensive coordinator and a great offensive mind, which we know Mike McDaniels has. He is not obviously what I would say is an NFL starting quarterback. So when he got picked up by the Dolphins, I thought, okay, this is going to be great. They're going to move him to the practice squad. He may see some reps here and there if something bad happens. And now we've seen not only one, but two quarterbacks go down. And Skylar Thompson is a big team guy. He is a very grounded person. He fit in really well with the K-State culture. I don't know a lot about the Dolphins culture, but I think the biggest key there, and this is just full disclosure on how that Dolphins game is going to be played, is Tyreek Hill. We know Tyreek Hill is not 100%. And if you're without your best receiver while Jalen Waddle is a stud, that's going to really hurt that offense because then he's going to be double teamed. Or if Tyreek goes and he's not 100%, is he going to be able to have that same breakaway speed to get away from that defender? I don't know. I think Skyler is a blip on the radar compared to what we need to be looking at as far as that Dolphins offense goes. I think he's going to be plenty serviceable. And the good news is he's not going to make a ton of mistakes. Knock on wood, I say that now. He throws 3 interceptions and everybody hates me. But full disclosure, that's not what we ever saw from him at Kansas State. A lot of mistakes weren't. But Skyler, from the couple injuries that he did have at K-State, by all means, fully healthy and should be serviceable enough to keep it respectable, as you guys mentioned, especially against that Viking secondary.
Sure, serviceable. From the Kansas State insider here, Kelly in Vegas. Skylar Thompson, that's where he went to college. So, hey, hopefully he can check down, manage the game, and,
I will say that I think he's a great game manager, but I think that a lot more for some of these teams is we overreact to the quarterback injury. A lot of these guys are just plug and play. They know the system. It comes down to coaching. We just saw it a couple of weeks ago and even last week with CT Betts' Pats. They're well coached by Belichick. You know the system, plug and play. Next guy up. And that's how it really should be, though we don't see that all that often in the NFL. In theory, it should be that simple.
He was
Absolutely.
good against the Jets, Cal. Make no mistake about it. He's not the reason the Jets beat them in the second half. He was, how hard is it? Get the ball to Tyreek Hill, get the ball to Waddle, give it to Mostert. Oh, yeah, and by the way, Drew, 91 with 100% humidity this weekend in Miami. Good luck there, Kirk Cousins. Let me know how that works out for you.
Love that show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just saying.
No, but and Kelly, you make a great point. I mean, it's the NFL. They're good enough to make an NFL roster. You know, we got to remember that. There's a difference between the backup quarterbacks in the NFL and college football. It's
absolutely. And that's why, I know CT talks about him a ton, but that's why Kenny White does so well. It's great to get those backup numbers because he does have really solid numbers from knowing from a first stringer to a second stringer in college, where some of these guys I'd never even heard of. You're not focusing on them. You're not managing your bankroll based on a third string quarterback. And in the NFL, it's not the end of your bet. In college, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But in the NFL, there's a definite overreaction to it. Uncle Ben just texted me he likes the Vikings this week, and I laughed as Trig starts going in about why he likes the Dolphins. Pretty funny stuff. Per usual from that crew. Drew, I want to go really quick. You did take my best bet in Penn State that I gave out on Bet on It. I love the Nittany Lions this week. Shout out to Steven Thurston, Chris's brother. That's his alma mater, and I'm really sad I don't get to go to State College for the Ohio State game. I have to spend the following 2 weeks with your brother, and 3 weeks in a row with the Thurstons is just going to be too much for me to handle.
He texted me earlier, Kelly. He doesn't really like it, so I'm going Penn State with or without the Penn State insider's opinion. So we'll see how it goes.
But let's be honest. My handicap in looking for dogs that can win outright, right? Like obviously the numbers have to line up, but what am I looking for to get that outright win, whether it's at home or on the road? If it's at home, it's a good home field advantage. It's a decent offense with an even better defense. On the road, I'm looking for probably a defensive touchdown. I'm looking for a special teams play. And I think that the Nittany Lions fill in both of those gaps. We know that they can stop the run. If you can make Michigan one-dimensional. Ann Arbor, as you mentioned, yes, they got the win there 2 years ago. And then Michigan got them in Happy Valley just last season. 4-0 road teams won the last four. So it's a definite possibility that Penn State can go in there and spring the upset. Ann Arbor, I've been there. Sorry to say, not that loud.
Snap.
Yeah, and they already won in Jordan Hare. I mean, they already won in Auburn, which nobody really says a Saturday game in Auburn is not loud. So that's impressive.
Well, and not only did they win there, Drew, they won pretty well. And I know you'll be the first to admit that your team is having a down year. But I do think that Penn State, they're my best bet. I'm waiting on a couple other injury things. I need to know whether DeVito's playing for Illinois or not, which should be the squares dog. I love betting against ranked teams catching points. I should be betting completely against Illinois, but I don't know who PJ Fleck thinks he is to be a 6.5-point favorite. And I think if DeVito gets announced, that line's going to be gone, and that becomes unfortunate. We already talked about Tennessee. One that I just cannot wrap my head around would be the Duke Blue Devils. 6.5. Why isn't this 7.5? Kind of the same reason why we were asking on Monday Night Football. Why isn't this 7.5? Why is this? Why? Somebody tell me why. So I might end up on the grossest underdog of the week, and that would be the Duke Blue Devils.
Ooh, ugly dog right there, guys. And before Michigan fans, we do know in 2020 there wasn't full fans there. So if we didn't say that before.
Yeah, I didn't go there in 2020, and I said, boy, it's really quiet in here.
Yeah. I was like, wow, it's like you hear a pin drop in here. I don't know what's going on here.
CT Bets, you got to finish this off, man. The mic is yours. We need more CT Bets in the Hustle show. We need more CT Bets 16 in our lives. What do you got, buddy?
All right, Drew, couple quick housekeeping things. I know we're up against it here before I give out my best bet. Number one, CT started us an Instagram account. We have Instagram. If you guys go follow us, that'd be awesome. At Hustle Show Pod. All of us and the group have some trips coming up. I'll be posting pictures from that, bets from that. The five of us and other friends are going to the Bahamas in March for March Madness. So follow us on Instagram. You'll see all of our stuff. Number two, next week we have a surprise guest picker and owner of Viva Tequila Seltzer. Steve Thurston will be on, and he's going to be talking about his 1 year anniversary in November. There's going to be a bar crawl, and all you Hustle listeners that are local in Boston will be invited. More details to come. The last housekeeping item, I looked this up at Kenny's stuff. If you're wondering, Daniels, he has worth 2 points for Kansas, and Dylan Gabriel, he has him worth 5 points. I'll get right into my best bet here, and that is going back to the NFL. Cashed the Browns last week plus 2.5 for my best bet. Looking to cash the New York Football Giants plus 5.5 this weekend. I was high on this Ravens team into this year. They got me a little worried right now. The usual weapons just aren't there, and they're grinding out last-minute wins. G-Men's first season defensive coordinator is Don Martindale. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but he coordinated the Ravens D for 4 seasons. He knows this Ravens organization and their systems better than almost anybody there. I think the Giants will be able to contain Lamar, force him into making throwing mistakes, and the nonstop energy Brian Daboll has brought has been incredible. I hate the Giants, and he gets me fired up. CT thinks this line is a little too high. I'm not in a rush to lay 6 on the road in a non-conference road sandwich game. Grab the points here as the G-Men will keep this close. Might even pull up right when bets play on G-Men plus 5.5.
New York Giants from CT Bets. You heard from Kelly Stewart, Adam Trigger, Joe Ranieri. I am Drew Martin. Guys, make sure to check out WagerTalk live odds screen. We're talking about all the sides, totals. That's the best free live odds in the business. WagerTalk.com. Hit on the live odds tab. And we're brought to you by Viva Tequila Seltzer. Viva Tequila Seltzer. We flavored our tequila seltzer because flavor is the spice of life. And we like our drinks with a kick, just as we like to live our lives. VivaTequilaSeltzer.com. Coupon code HUSTLE at checkout gives you 10% off. Get it shipped to your house. Check it out, guys. VivaTequilaSeltzer.com. That does it for this show. This week, we'll be back next Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Come back and join us on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Smash that like button. Feel free to reply below. Best of luck with your bets.
All right, you clear?